So, good morning to those of you who have joined us. Can I just do a sound check and maybe Haley, if you are online? For those of you who are here, Asim, I see you're here. If you can just give me some feels. Now, here's how you do that. You just click on the little hands like I'm going to do for Haley, and that's how you show someone that you are on. Asim, I'm going to bring you on in a second. Haley, can we just do a quick sound check and see how you sound?
Sure. How do I sound?
You sound good to me.
Yay!
Yes. Okay, fantastic. So, Haley, welcome. I'm going to bring Asin in as well. Hey, Asin, nice to see you, sweetie. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. So this is only my second blab. So a couple of housekeeping things. We've got some people joining us. I see the gorgeous Tristan. Thanks for the feels, my gorgeous friend. Hey, Nancy. So here's what's going to happen. As a facilitator, I'm going to start saying hi to people on the comments. I'm going to encourage you. Can you see the tweet a little bird, the little blue bar? For those of you who are watching on your Mac, it's on your left-hand side. Apparently, I'm still on the blab. I just left. Give me 1 second. I have no idea how to get in and out. I'm just going to refresh my screen.
I just tweeted it out.
Can you hear more than one person at once?
Yes.
Oh, hi, I'm Haley, and I just tweeted it out too, if it
Hey,
works.
thanks, Jerome. I appreciate. So a couple of people that are here. We're going to get into some content. We're going to spend just a few minutes talking about Blab. So for those of you, no, I'm still in. Okay, Jerome, I don't know how to get me out. Tristan, how do I get out, honey, if you are watching this? Apparently, I'm still in the Blab that I was in before. I've closed all my screens. Off chat. Okay, sorry. The host should be able to disconnect you.
There you go.
Yep, you're gone.
You're gone. Look at all the people joining. Is this your first one, Haley?
I tried to get on last time, but I didn't know that you had to be on Chrome, so I spent about 40 minutes in extreme frustration on every Apple device I had, which are all defaulted to Safari.
Oh, my gosh.
So Sylvie helped me out, and so hopefully it seems like it's working.
So I didn't know you had to be on Chrome.
Well, I do anyway. I don't know if that's true with the PCs.
No, I got a Mac. I have a Mac too, and so I just automatically, I use Chrome all the time instead of Safari.
Well, if that's your default, then that's why you didn't have a problem with it.
But Jerome, if you're still around, okay. So Tristan, did you close me out? Are we all good? My apologies, guys. This is like total learning experience. All right. So here's what not to do. Don't be in another blab before your own blab and get stuck in the room. So a couple things.
Oh, there's feedback from somewhere.
Alison, is that yours? Can you turn that down?
That's my phone, honey.
All right. So a couple of facilitator tips before we jump into content. Thank you for joining us. So we are recording this. So a couple of things I would recommend is you can tell a little bird on your screen. You'll see there's an option to tweet this out. Whoever's name is showing is because they're on one of the hot seats, like Haley. So Haley, for those of you who don't know the lovely Haley, is an expert in short talks. A couple of other facilitators, thank you, Nancy, for that tip. A couple of facilitator tips. So if you want to tell someone you love what they're saying, see the little hands? You can give them what they call feels. So you can clap for them. Yay, Nancy, thank you for that. I can see there's other cool people in the house, so thank you for that. If you want to follow some people, what you can do is click on their gorgeous little face and simply click on follow. So if you run your mouse across the names, if you're seeing the faces on your Mac, they're at the top of the screen. On iOS, I think they're on the bottom. So if you are using the app, it works a little bit differently, and there's still some things in it that they're working out. A couple other things, if you've never been in Blab before, if you want to join us, feel free to let the facilitator know, in this case me, and all you want to do is click on the open seat box, and then I get to see that you want to jump in, and then I can approve you. So that's kind of how it works. So a couple of things that I would love to talk about, and that is, how do we use Blab to share our expertise? Now, there's about a bazillion Blabs happening right now on how to use Blab. So what I'm going to suggest is we get into some content. So what I'd love to know is some ideas from you. I was just with Tristan, who's ATW Networking. You definitely want to follow him. He has been amazing and taught me some great things. I'm seeing some love for Tristan. Thanks, Peggy. But what he was sharing was, and I heard that Brian, I don't know his last name. Someone will know it in this blab. But he is iSocial Fans, and Fans is spelled F-A-N-Z. He used it in his keynote the other night, and Tristan was part of that. So as thought leaders, it's a very new and engaging tool as a platform that I think would be super cool for people to be able to use with sharing their expertise. So one way to use it for those of you who have the privilege of speaking as a thought leader in your industry or in your expertise, one way that you can use Blab would be to share your expertise in your keynote. So you could bring someone into the Blab live. Now, I'd probably recommend that you do some practice with it before you do that. The best way to get practice on Blab is just what I've been doing. Literally, I joined on Monday night, did my first Blab Tuesday. This is only my second Blab today, so forgive user error. But what I've learned is watching other Blabs. So when I've had a few minutes in the day, I've jumped into somebody else's Blab just to see how they're using it and to see the conversation. So if you are new to Blab, thanks for the beautiful feels. Shamika, you're the best. On the right-hand side, when I'm looking at my Macs, I'm going to talk from a Mac point of view, or your PC. You'll see there's a chat happening on the side. Can you see what happens when people actually talk? Nancy is such a sweetheart. If you're not following Nancy, please follow Nancy. But Nancy was saying my first Blab was great. It was crazy because I didn't even know how to use the sound. So just so you know, I think headphones are really beneficial. So Haley, these, Apple headphones, they work just fine. I noticed this morning when I was coming back from bar class, I had Blab going through my car, so through the Bluetooth. And then when I actually went to click in once I got into my house to talk to Tristan and Matt is AUS Backpacking. When I was talking to them, I noticed there was no sound. It was because I think my iPhone was still connected to my car. So just a couple of tips like that, it might be really helpful. So I think, Haley, it is brave to jump into a hot seat, and I'd love to hear from you. So maybe what you could do for the sake of people who don't know who you are, just tell people just a tiny bit about you. I know this is maybe your first time in a hot seat on Blab. So tell people a little bit about who you are and what do you do.
My name is Haley Foster. I'm the short talk expert. I got my expertise first from the National Speakers Association as a professional speaker. And when TED offered licenses for independently organized events, my husband grabbed the one for TEDx NASA, which was the first large-scale TEDx event in history. And he was an engineer. So I said, "What are you doing? You're an engineer." And I invited some of my colleagues from the National Speakers Association to participate, which at the time, you have to remember, nobody knew what it was. It didn't exist yet. And so when I got, say, science speakers who are used to speaking for 3 hours and lecturing, I had to get that person into an 18-minute talk, and I developed a way to do that, which over the last 6 years, I've refined, and I do short talk speaker coaching, not just for TEDx, but for authors who need to represent their books well, and for any kind of, it could be a pitch for a new product or a new idea, but essentially, the most important thing is understanding what your core message is in that moment and communicating it with passion and sincerity.
Perfect. So what I love about Haley is she has the ability to take someone's expertise and give them an opportunity to put it in a short format. Now, if you are a thought leader in your area of expertise as an author, a blogger, maybe you're speaking, maybe you're training within a company, so many more event planners, meeting planners are asking us to do short talks because TED has exploded around the world and there's so many different versions of short talks and there's so many names for them as well. But rather than get into that, one of the things I think Blab is really beneficial for is for someone like Haley to also do like a quick coaching session with someone on a Blab. And I think as thought leaders, one of the things to consider is giving away a little bit of your intellectual property on Blab by doing a hot seat and coaching someone in your area of expertise. So as soon as I saw Blab Monday night, I reached out to Haley and I said, I think this could be a really cool platform for you for the clients that you have. Now, I still have some seats available. So Nancy, I don't know if you want to jump in.
Well, there's
Kristen,
something
if
I'd
you're
like to
around.
answer to that, if
Sure.
I can. Am I allowed to just speak?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so this is the thing. When I saw that, and I was not able to get on, but I was able to review what you had done and what Lynn Rose had done, which both of you did a great job.
Follow
First
Lynn
time.
Rose, LINNROSE. She's got me onto Blab on Monday night.
Well, so the thing that's wonderful about it is I've stayed away from things that are broadcasting because what I do is interactive. So this is very exciting, thinking about how to interview people who may have had experience with what I've done, but also giving people what I do best real time in front of other people just as it comes up.
Right.
And it just seems like it would be a great fit.
Yeah, so if there's anyone out there who wants to join in the seat in the conversation, please feel free to let me know. Here comes my beautiful friend Nancy. Hey, Nancy, I'm going to bring you in as I continue talking. Hey.
Uh-oh. I can't hear you.
I can hear you, though. I can hear you, yeah.
I can't hear you. Huh. Let me bow out for a minute because this headset's been giving me trouble.
Okay.
And I'll put on something.
Yeah. So it looks like my cat has decided to join. So if she joins Blab, my apologies if you're watching the replay, it's all real time. A couple things that I think is really cool about Blab is that unlike Periscope, which is very singular, Periscope to me, I think it's fun, but I think it's just about one person, whereas I like that this gives us the opportunity to bring other thought leaders in and be able to share their expertise. Peggy, thank you for the feels. I so appreciate that. Let me know if you want to jump in a seat. So what I would suggest is that if you want to use Blab to share your expertise, like what Haley's talking about, it's really interactive. That's what I've learned. And I've learned just by watching other people how to use Blab. But also, too, I think as a facilitator, you could use it for a couple of different ways. If you are an expert, what you could do is offer some hot seats to be able to showcase your expertise. Then what you might do is point people to your site, and there might be downloadable resources available for them. So my website's just my name, neenjames.com. You can go across there, and there's about a bazillion free resources, ebooks, things you can use. So as an expert, you can direct people to other social media platforms you have, your blog, your website. Maybe if it's professional, you want to connect to your LinkedIn profile. Maybe if it's fun, you want to connect to Instagram. Maybe in my case, I have what's called Amaze TV on YouTube. So every week I do YouTube videos on what I call Be Amazing. Be Amazing is my brand. So if you didn't know that, it's AH Amazing. And it's so important to me, I had it tattooed on my wrist. So what I think it's a way to do is direct people to other resources. So Nancy, if you're back and you want to join in, please do. If someone wants a hot seat, I don't want to be begging you people to come join me. So please come and join me. A couple of things I think would be really beneficial. I was listening to Matt, who is AUS Backpacking, Matt McLeod, and Matt is specialized in backpacking. And so what he's using it for is for his podcast. So another way thought leaders can use this is for a podcast. Haley, besides your website, do you have any other ways you share your expertise?
Typically, I will speak for organizations that ask me to come, and some of those are paid and some unpaid, and I always get business out of that. So I actually shy away from doing things that are broadcast oriented. It really doesn't fit me. I do webinars, so I'll do that for an author's co-op. I will speak for authors. I will go in and I'll go into different organizations. Like I've spoken for Vistage. I've spoken for young entrepreneurs. It's just, I prefer the interactive way of being able to touch my audience. So I don't do a lot of out.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I think for some of you who have joined us, and remember the Tweet a Little Bird, there's a little blue bar. You can actually go and click on that and then share it. Here comes Nancy. She's back. So hopefully your headphones are feeling better. Does that feel any better?
I still can't hear you. You can hear me?
I can, beautiful.
I can hear you.
Very odd.
Can you refresh your screen?
It has to be on my PC. I'm going to get on another laptop.
All right,
there must be a setting that's wacky on this one. Sorry.
Okay. All right, cool.
What is Nancy's expertise?
She's going to come back and I'll let her tell you what that is. A couple of other things that could be really cool could be crowdsourcing information. So you might be able to use Blab to crowdsource. You might be able to ask people in the chats, what are some great best practices they see? What are some ideas? One of the ways that I've been learning about Blab this week is jumping in and asking questions of people. Now, if you want to ask a question on Blab, all you have to do is use the / and a Q. Now, what that does is it then highlights the word question. So if anyone wants to test it out, please feel free to do that. So just want to say a quick hey to a couple of people who have joined us. Zeph Zan, Samantha Cowley, Gary Beatty. I hope I'm saying your names correctly. Stephanie Moss. So if you want to try and, so if you can look on the chat section for those of you who are learning about Blab, you'll see what Haley has done is the / and a Q then allows you to use question. And then that to the host is really fabulous because then I can go and see, is this the question? So what I can do as the host is I can actually reply and say, yep. And so you'll see how that actually works. Now, if you'll notice that there's blue font above my name, and when I'm replying, it shows in blue font. So Haley, if you wanted to reply to someone who's made a comment, Haley's color is going to come up in yellow. So that's just a couple things to think about. So what you can do is, as a facilitator sharing your expertise, you can actually do a couple things like teach people how to use Blab like we are today. If you have just joined us and you're not using Blab regularly, one of the things you can do is follow people. So by clicking on their beautiful little smiling face, you can then, it will open, if you roll your mouse across, it will open the box and then you can instantly follow someone. So as far as Zeph's asking, are there any other features to highlight your comments? Zeph, as far as I understand, question is the only one I really know, but some other people might know how to do it. So Tweeting Goddess, which is Samantha Kelly, thank you for sharing. I'm really new at Blab, so Zeph, I am not sure, Zeph Zan, I'm not sure what else to tell you. There's no real experts in Blab. This is what I've learned, and it's only really been around for maybe a month or so. Now, someone like Nancy, I've seen her quite regularly. Tristan, which is ATW Networking. Tristan's really cool and very helpful, so he is someone you may want to connect with. And then Brittany Metz, which is METZ, I think. And so that is, she's like the help. She's amazing. Every time I've tweeted her a question, she has responded. So if you are new to this, see the little hand, see under Haley's face, you can see my face popping up. By clicking on that, that's giving her feels. So Peggy's been generous in giving me feels. Thank you to the people who are doing that. That's a way just to tell the person you like what they're saying or for encouragement as well. So as far as /Q, Haley, is the way to do it. So the sequence is /Q. That only works in this feed. Now, a couple of things, people that I recommend that you connect with. Yes, so I'm going to type them at the same W. ATW Networking is Tristan. I might have a little bit of a crush on him, but don't tell him. There's a great guy called Brian, and he is iSocial Fans with a Z at the end. Sorry, in America we say Z. I'm Australian if you didn't know the accent. So that's a couple. And Brian is like, I didn't know, I meet him the first night. He's apparently like social media royalty. So it's amazing who you meet on Blabs. A couple of things that you want to think about as a thought leader. Tristan's in the house. Yay. Honey, if you want to show your gorgeous face, I'd be delighted to have you on screen. I just told everyone I have a crush on you. Did you hear that? And that's why you joined? Okay. Oh my God. So 2 seconds. All right. So as a thought leader, let's make sure we get back to content. What I was suggesting to some people the other night was maybe using Blab to interview people. So Haley, what you could do before you prepare for one of your big speeches is to interview maybe the CEO of the company that you're speaking for on Blab, maybe get a couple of team members, do a Blab for them. And it also showcases that you are really staying ahead of technology. An important thing for thought leaders, I believe, is to stay relevant and current. And Blab, I think, is one of those tools. I was reading Seth Godin's blog this morning, and he was talking about the difference between fabs and trends. Is Periscope a fad or a trend? I'm not sure, but it feels very much like a fad right now that everyone's jumping on board. And Blab might feel like that to some, but here's why I think it's different. I'm just going to accept my gorgeous Tristan. I was talking today about the difference between, fabs and trends. I think Blab is a trend, and here's why I believe it's a trend rather than a fad, is because fads, they come and go like fashions, but a trend is something that's truly engaging engaging. And I think this is a trend of live streaming. So Tristan, we're just talking about how thought leaders can use Blab. I did admit I had a crush on you, so now it's official, the world knows. But one of the things that was cool about Tristan, let me just share with everyone, my very first Blab, which I screwed up a bazillion times, Tristan then used video to send me a note to say well done. So what Tristan's been able to do is not only leverage the whole idea of Blab, but then to connect. And what's interesting is I've only known Tristan for less than a week and have thoroughly enjoyed his comments. So welcome, Tristan. Can you tell everyone about you? I believe you don't sleep because whenever I'm in Blab, I see your handsome face. But tell everybody about you and what you do.
I am going to put that myth to rest. I do actually sleep. I had a great 11 hours sleep yesterday, and it's actually thrown my body clock out something chronic. So, as a business, we actually my business is called All Things Networking, and what we're doing is building a network of vision, mission, and values led businesses and individuals. But more importantly than that they want to make a change in the world. So they've all got some kind of higher drive and that they're making a social impact. So we only deal with people who are interested in making a change in the world. And as part of that, I also am part of a kind of volunteer organization where we offer free business advice for an hour through Blab. There's 15 of us that all get together, and it's all real business people rather than big internet marketers with six-figure businesses going, hey, check out my car, check out my house, by the way, this is what you should do.
Many of them make their millions by teaching others how to do it, but you're giving it away free, which is amazing. Yeah,
and we've actually, even for Blab, I believe we're the first and possibly the only people to have a full walkthrough of the Blab platform as a training course, and we didn't. We could have put it out as $97 course and things like that. Obviously, there's expenses to cover in running it and hosting it, but we just put it out for $30 because we wanted it to be accessible to everybody.
Love that.
And so we did that to make it really accessible for everyone. So that was, and we couldn't believe that it was kind of driven from the opportunity that came when I went looking for the domain names, the most appropriate domain name, and we found learntolivestream.com was still available.
Shut up! That's so cool.
So we bought that, and it's now actually a full training course platform. So it's got a full walkthrough of Blab, and we're adding in hopefully within the next 3 to 4 days, it'll be a full Periscope equivalent. So it'll be everything about Periscope, including a couple of Periscope celebrities giving their how-tos in there.
Oh, that's neat.
And we've basically said it, that the tone of the whole platform is that the structure for it is it's accessible to everyone. So that $30 is a flat fixed price for anyone who puts a course on there, because we believe that the price should, the access to the education should be the most important thing, and obviously it makes it accessible for someone who's a hobbyist as well as people who are running businesses.
I love it. So you can see one of the things about Tristan, if you're not following him, you can simply click on his face. You'll see above his name, he's got a green name, which is All Things Networking. If you click on looks like his Twitter handle, that will then open a box and then you can follow him. So please follow him. If you want to give him some love by clicking on the hands like Haley was, what that does, thank you, Samantha, what that does is then shows how much you appreciate him. For those of you who are following along, if you click on the Tell a Little Bird, what will happen is it will tweet out this Blab, and whoever is on screen, their Twitter handle will be included in that as well. So thank you for those of you who are sharing this as well. We've had quite a few people join us in the last couple of minutes. So if you've just joined, we're talking about how thought leaders can use Blab to share their expertise. What is amazing about Tristan is the generosity behind his idea with what he's doing. And what I've noticed with Tristan is he's also been an incredible help to people who have been learning Blab. So if you've just joined or this is really new, so Gary, if you want the question word to highlight, it's /Q is the sequence behind that if you want the question bar to come up. So if you want to communicate, Haley, the conversations in here, the chat is with everybody. When I've wanted to highlight a conversation with someone privately, I've done it through Twitter after the Blab. And so that's how I tend to do it. And so for those of you who want to connect with people here, once you connect on Blab, it doesn't automatically connect you on Twitter. That was something that I learned. And so if you are loving some of the people here, I recommend you follow a couple people that I've really enjoyed talking to. ATW Networking is one of them. iSocial Fans is another. Lynn Rose, which is LYNNROSE. Big shout out to Lynn. Someone else I would recommend that you follow who is playing in this space. Matt McLeod is AUS Backpacking. I've seen him a couple times on here as well. The best way to learn about Blab is to see how other people are using it, and that's what I did. I'd also recommend that maybe you want to, as an expert, share your resources. So one of the books that I wrote is called Folding Time, How to Achieve Twice as Much in Half the Time. A thought leader could share their expertise by doing deeper dives into the book. You could give away free chapters of your book. You could give away sample pieces of your book. And I think as a thought leader, an easy way to use Blab is to share what you are passionate about and then get other people who are also passionate about that as well. So I'm going to do a productivity Blab with Lynn Rose. She asked for some coaching, so we're going to do a productivity Blab where I'm going to share with her how she could get more productive, and then people watching in the chat learn vicariously by watching. So another way as an expert to use Blab is to take your expertise, host a Blab about it, and then share that with the world, and then people might have questions. So what's been really neat about having Tristan here in my very first Blab, I had Brian. It is about having someone who's brilliant like him, and they almost act like a co-host, because when I'm talking, I'm not always looking at the conversation that's happening in chat. For a couple of you facilitator tips, I would recommend, if you can, make sure you've got some really good lighting around you as well. So Haley, your beautiful face, I can see you, but it's quite dark. So what I'd recommend for those of you who want to facilitate is to be able to turn a light on, or I have light boxes. I don't know if you can see them. Let me turn my camera around. Can you see that? So in my office, because I do so much video, I have light boxes. Can you see those? They're like super cheap on Amazon. So I have a studio in my office, which is literally just me, but I bought some light boxes from Amazon and set them up. And then behind me, you can see these are just pop-up banners that I bought because it's just nice to have a background. So if you're facilitating, you may want to just invest in a little bit of lighting or turn the light on your desk just so we can see your beautiful face. So Haley, did you have a question, honey?
Well, so one of the things that I saw from the two that you and Lynn did was that it was really informal. And so rather than do what I do when I do a webinar, which is I have a screen, I have a desk, that's white background, I have my book up, I thought, oh, I'm supposed to do this like in my living room. So I'm doing it like that. Is it better to have your lighting and all of your good stuff up than it is to appear to be relaxed and in your own home?
Well, I mean, I hope that I look relaxed, and Tristan has seen me at my worst. I just came out of bar class and I was chatting to them this morning. It was fairly unglamorous. So I don't think you have to do hair and makeup. I am a brat, and so I like hair and makeup, and I do so much video. So for me, I'll be shooting videos today, so I figured it was worth it. But I think what it's about, Haley, is authenticity. I think it's really about, hey, Asin's going to join. I'm going to jump on and let him in. I think it's about authenticity. Now, for me, I love hair and makeup, so that's pretty real for me, right? But also, too, my very first Blab with Lynn Rose, it was late at night. I looked awful, but I still jumped on camera. So it's really what you want to create. Here's why I like pop-up banners behind me, is because it covers my bookshelf and the distractions of other things. When I was watching someone the other day on Blab, she was sitting on the floor in her kitchen, and I could see her kitchen cupboards behind her. And I don't think people really care, because it's about who you are and how you show up. Now, the other day when I was on a Blab with Asin, who has just joined us on camera, welcome. He also did the fabulous Sub Shuffle. Is that what you call it? There was a little bit of dancing going on.
Shake and bake.
A little shake and bake. So, Asin, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about you, honey, but also you have a book, and you asked me about that, promoting that. So can you tell everyone just a tiny bit about your book, just a very brief overview?
Thanks, Neen. First of all, I want to tell you, you didn't look ugly or bad the other night. You looked beautiful. Your hair and makeup didn't make a difference. You're absolutely gorgeous. Thank you for the plug. No, I'm an author and a speaker. I've written a couple of books, and the one that is really doing well is called Don't Die. 3 Essential Truths for Your Fulfilled and Happy Life. And it's on Amazon. There's the 3 things in there. Came after I'd had several heart surgeries and was retired and really going through a state of depression. And until I decided to change my life and reinvent myself as a motivational speaker and start training and everything else, I really came out of that and really started living again. That was about 5 or 6 years ago, and that's how I met Lynn Rose, was one of the classes that I took. So the 3 things that are in there, the 3 essentials, is one, you have to keep learning. At age 80, I'm really excited about this whole new concept and direction, the things that are going on. The second thing you have to do is stay active. You have to physically keep the body moving. A lot of my generation decide that to watch television, that's the biggest thing that they do. I love the line that Zig Ziglar used to say is, that people fill up the bathtub, pull the plug, and fight the current. They think that they're exercising. So you have to do something more. You got to be working or walking or doing something. And the third thing, which is the most important, is giving. You have to continue to give. And I say that in terms not only of money, but time and energy, and be more concerned about the welfare of others than you are about your own. And that's the basis of the book. It has a lot of stories in it. It has a lot of research in it. There's a bonus chapter at the end that talks about how do you know whether your goals and dreams are a reality or not. So it's a way to quantify what it is that you go through. So if I motivated people to want to do something with their life and get out there, I wanted them to also have a way to be able to determine whether it was something they were actually going to accomplish or was going to be a waste of time and money. So I put that little formula in there in the bonus. So that's the book.
So there's a couple of cool comments coming in about you good looking. I think it was Nancy, I'm scrolling back, saying this is the new 80. I mean, my gosh, your energy, your commitment, your passion, it's super cool. So could you post, Arsen, in the comments for us, your website, also to your Blab. So if you're hosting any Blabs, people can connect with you. Make sure you follow Arsen as well. Haley, you've also written a book, honey. Do you want to tell people about your book?
Sure. So this is Don't Tank Your TED Talk, 12 Mistakes Professional Speakers Make. I have a subspecialty in working with my colleagues on their short and TED style talks. So I have a slew of tips for people who are used to speaking in a certain style that does not work on the TED stage. And it turns out that this is a pretty good guide for all speakers for all talks. And the landscape has changed, just like Neen has said. The advent of TED and its permutation into popular culture has meeting planners asking for what they think are TED Talks. And there's a distinction. They may be asking for a short talk instead of a TED Talk, and they may not know that.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, so it's very important to know the distinction and also to interview the person who you'll be doing the work for to find out what they really mean.
So Samantha's asking, Tweeting Goddess, if you're not following Samantha, please do. A couple of things I'd recommend if you've just joined us. Please tell a little bird on the left-hand side of your Mac or down below on iOS so that you can share this particular Blab with others. But Samantha was asking where they can get a copy of it because she's got a TED Talk in November. So congratulations. Haley, can you put up a link in the chat, please, for people to be able to do that? And Arsen, if you could do the same, honey, if you could put in the chat where people could find your book, that would be fantastic. Now, if there's anyone else who wants to join in the hot seat, I'm sure some of the good-looking people here would happily jump in and out. Samantha, it'd be lovely to meet you. I don't know if you want to join us from Ireland, but you are welcome to do that. Nancy, I don't know if your headset's working, but I'm sure anyone on here would be delighted to jump out so that some others could jump in. So is there anyone who wants to join me? Okay, so Haley or Arsen, do you guys want to jump? Oh, I just lost Tristan. So Samantha, if you send me a note, sweetie, I'd love to meet you. Here she is. Okay. So for those of you, as well, Samantha's joining us, just in case you don't know how to use this, if someone wants to join you on the hot seat, all they simply do is to click on an open seat. There's another one available. And so this is how we join. Samantha, thank you for being so generous in your comments. Tell everybody about you and what you're doing in Ireland today.
Hi, my name is Samantha. I'm Tweeting Goddess on Twitter. Obviously, what I do is I tweet. I could have called it Rossler Harbour social media, but I don't think it would have got as much attention, you know. But really what I do is I run Twitter accounts for businesses that don't have time, and I'm just learning all about Blab at the moment. So I saw your little, it's great the way you get a notification, isn't it, when something's going on?
Yeah.
If you're following someone, then anytime they put a Blab up or they schedule a Blab, I've noticed, I'm only on this since 2 days ago, but I'm kind of addicted. I got no work done yesterday. So I just think this is really great. I mean, for example, you heard me saying, okay, where can I buy the book? I mean, for you to be able to put your link up to your book, or like, this is going to be really powerful for us, you know, to be able to, you know, direct people to our blog or to our next course or whatever, you know, and I'm just learning so much. I just think it's so powerful for the little guy, the small guy like me, you know, that's in Ireland, you know.
I love
great.
that.
Yeah.
Samantha, what's cool about what you said is a couple things. If you are new to Blab like I am, honey, I joined Monday night. So this is all new. This is only my second Blab. But a couple things. If you want to follow people, you simply scroll over their face. And then what you do is you'll see that the box pops up and you can follow them. If you want to ask a question like Haley just has in the chat, you use /Q and you can have the ability to highlight your question. So Haley's asking the question, if someone can help her, is trying to put the link into the chat and it's not working. So a couple of things to think about. Another thing Samantha said I love is that if you are following someone, you'll get notifications when they're hosting a Blab or something's happening on Blab. Now, be careful with that too, because I started to have it on my phone and my phone literally blew up because I started to follow a lot of people and I was like, okay, this is overwhelming. I'm a productivity expert, probably don't want to constantly be distracted by Blab notifications. No. However, if you want to follow someone, there's a way to do that. Okay. Is anyone getting an echo back?
No.
Or is that just me? Okay. A couple things too to think about as a facilitator if you're sharing your expertise with others like Samantha is when you change seats, get people an opportunity to share their expertise too. Absolutely. So that people know who they are. Now, if you want to follow Samantha, you can just click on the note above her face. You'll see that it highlights and then you can click on that and allows you to follow her. I highly encourage you to follow people who are on this Blab so that you can then share with them, and you can use the tell a little bird as well and tweet out. And what that will do is, in Samantha's case and Haley's case, it will tweet out with their Twitter handles on there as well. A couple other ways to share this as maybe thought leaders, something else Samantha said I love is it's great for the little person, not the big corporation, but this is a way to showcase. And I think it's also, as a thought leader, going to be a way to bridge the gap. Because I think what's happening is some big corporations can invest substantial studios and all of that film and all that kind of thing, but they don't always have the authenticity that something like a Blab has.
You see, that's another thing as well that I think is going to really help, because people can identify. I mean, some people think I have, like, I've 24,000 followers on Twitter or whatever it is, and people just think I'm in this big posh office. As you can see, I'm in my kitchen, but I'm going to have to get what you have there, the branding in the back. But, you know, like, this is the great thing.
Like a $300 pop-up banner. It's not expensive. Literally, you can get, I get them from displayit.com. They're awesome.
There you go, displayit.com. They're a nice plug. But you see, this is the kind of thing we'll be able to do. I mean, I run networks for small business owners, so I know the issues they have, and I had all those issues myself, and I still am only getting to the stage where I'm coming out of the startup phase, and I've got a team around me now. I delegate a lot. You know, I am terrible at invoicing, terrible with numbers. but I'm brilliant on Twitter, brilliant at running Twitter accounts and connecting people. Like I might know somebody that you might need to connect with that you don't know about in Ireland, for example, or in the UK, and so on. And for your TED Talk book, I mean, I must tell the guy who's organizing the TED Talk about your book. So these are all things I can connect you on Twitter with him, you know. So this is just powerful, you know.
Thank you. So a couple of other ways. Oh, are you getting any kind of
I'm going
feedback?
That's my dog barking, so I'm just going to shut the door.
All right, honey. Is it me, Haley?
Yeah, there was for a minute.
Let me just unplug. All right. Okay, so if anyone else wants to join, please do.
Did someone else join, or have you?
Yeah, you're welcome to, Samantha, but I would love to have some other faces on here as well so that people, if you've never experienced a Blab, the best way to do it is just to make a request, jump on. Exactly. And this is an easy way for people to experience you, but also, too, for you to experience the platform of Blab. So I'd love, for those of you, there's quite a lot of you who are actually watching, please feel free to make a request. I'd love to welcome you on board.
So how do they make a request? Is they just click the join button, isn't it? To make a request.
Yeah. And as a facilitator, what you get to see is you get to see the open seat, and you can lock a seat as a facilitator if you want to save one for someone. So if you are wanting to have someone on who's not there yet, you can actually lock one of the seats and then unlock it when that person is available. So there's no way, I think, Haley, what you're asking is it better to show full or open seats? I think it's just good not to be on your own. So I don't think when I saw someone blabbing on their own yesterday, and I felt a little sorry for them. Because if you want to be on your own, I guess you use Periscope. So I don't think there's a best practice, Haley, but I do love the energy of multiple people. So for anyone who has joined us and you would like to say hi, I would love for you to jump in. So so many people have been in and out of the Blab. Here comes the beautiful Nancy. Hopefully her earphones are going to be good to her and it's going to work. I know. Arson's asking where are the men. I think
I don't know why I continue to not be able to hear you, but you can hear me, right?
We can hear you, Nancy. Yay! Samantha, thanks for jumping out. If anyone else wants to jump in the seat. Elliot Richmond says he's camera shy. I don't know about that. We'll see. But Nancy, we were being asked before about your expertise. Can you share with people a little bit about you and just briefly what it is that you do?
Can you hear her? Because I can't hear her.
Sweetie, I can hear you. Yeah. Can you? Okay, bye. It seems to be her PC. Okay, cool. So Gary's saying no headphones, it'll cause feedback. I totally get it. I don't want to beg anyone to be on here, but we're going to do this for a couple more minutes and a few things that I would love to share. So if you want to join me, we have a couple more minutes left. So please, if you want to test out Blab, I promise I'll be kind as your host. A couple things to think about as a thought leader is that there are ways you can use Blab to be able to share your expertise. You can not only share your own book, but you can also share other books. So here comes Blair. Fabulous to actually meet you, Blair. A couple of books while Blair's joining us. Before we introduce you, Blair, I'll just finish this thought. Paid to Speak by the National Speakers Association. Sell Your Thoughts for Thought Leaders. Thought Leaders as a book. I think as a thought leader, you can also share your expertise. So people are asking about my voice. Do I inhale helium? No, I don't. I know I sound like I'm 5. This is my real voice. Okay, so Blair, welcome to the hot seat. So glad you're here. If you guys want to give Blair some feels, there's 2 ways you can do that. You can click on the hands and give him some love, which is great. And if you want to tweet out about Blair being part of this program, click on the Tell a Little Bird, and that will then showcase both Haley and Blair's Twitter handle as well. So Blair, upgrade my credit. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do very briefly?
Yes, I'm down here in Texas, so you'll probably be able to tell that with my Texas accent. But I own a credit repair and debt counseling business, both for consumers and businesses. Probably 80% of my clients are consumers. And I help mortgage people and realtors when they get somebody maybe that wants to buy a house but can't qualify at the moment because of their credit and debt problems. they send them to me, and I send them back 3 to 9 months later, and they're ready to go. And I've just recently, in the last year, launched out into speaking and teaching. I teach at Champion School of Real Estate on credit. I've spoken at a few community, gatherings just for free, just to kind of get the word out and practice speaking. But I love speaking. I was a teacher in my past life. When you get in your 50s, you've lived long enough to have 2 or 3 careers, right? And,
can I interrupt you for a second, Blair? Are you aware of the National Speakers Association?
No.
Did you know there was an organization called that?
I didn't know that. You want to give me a link?
It's called NSA for short. So the National Speakers Association. I'm actually speaking in North Texas for them in October. If you want to meet in real life, I don't know if that's anywhere near where you are. I'm going to be somewhere. But
it's not far. It's about an hour. It's about an hour from me. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Haley, would you mind, as being like a co-chair for me right now, would you mind sharing the link to the National Speakers Association so Blair can see it in the chat? And Christiane is saying she's in North Texas. So the National Speakers Association is an organization for experts who speak. And so what you find is, and it's an international organization, there are also local chapters. So the North Texas chapter is a very active chapter. Yep. Some of my favorite speakers live there. So I'm going to go play with them. They have an annual convention every year, the NSA organization. And it's full, Blair, of people who are new speakers, very older, not old as in age, but more pioneered speakers. And so Arsene, if you're still watching, this would be a really cool place for you as well. That's where I met the lovely Lynn Rose, who introduced me to Blab. She was the opening performance at the National Speakers Convention in DC this year, so a shout out to Lynn. So Blair, you might be able to check that out and have a look. I highly recommend it.
Who's the chapter leader up here in North Texas?
I should probably know that.
Russ Riddle.
Thank you so much, Haley. Yay, Haley. So Russ Riddle. But I would recommend you jump on board and have a look at the website, National Speakers Association. It's nsaspeaker.org, and that way you'll be able to see and find a local chapter and find speakers. Arsene, are you involved in the National Speakers Association yet?
No. I tried to join, but I was told that I had to have at least, I think it was $20,000 in paid speaking engagements in order to join to join. So.
So there's a couple of different ways you can participate. You don't have to be a member to attend. Membership is about the people who are doing it professionally, and so you need to be able to share with people. If you're earning your living as a speaker, there are criteria for that. In the National Speakers Association, which is full of thought leaders, there are people who are also what they call CSPs, which stands for Certified Speaking Professionals. A CSP, there's less than 10% of speakers in the world that have the CSP accreditation.
Wow.
And those people have gone through showcasing their financials, client testimonials, showing videos, and being reviewed by their peers to get that designation. So I'm a CSP and very actively involved in the National Speakers Association. And Blair, there's also teachers who have joined us. One of my favorite teachers, one of my favorite speakers, and a dear friend, a gentleman by the name of Steve Spangler, teaches science teachers how to engage their students more.
Wow.
A guy to follow on Twitter. He's huge on YouTube. If you ever saw the Mentos in the Diet Coke experiment where it just explodes, they put a Mentos. That's Steve Spangler. He created that experiment all those years ago. So Arsene, you can still attend NSA events, but you may not be a member as such. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. I wish I had known that. In fact, I have, in addition to Lynn Rose being a part of that, another gentleman, Robert Stack. You know Robert?
Yeah, I know Robert. He's a good man.
He's a dear guy. I met him at Lynn Rose's Wow Factor a few years ago. And we became friends.
Good guy.
So stayed very close with Robert. We're close on Facebook.
Nice. So to Arsene and Blair and Haley, just for a few more minutes, what I'd like to be able to do is make sure we're focusing on content today, on how you can use Blab to share your expertise. So Blair, in your case, when you're talking to people about credit, how are you thinking you're going to use Blab? What forum, how are you going to use this tool? Do you know?
Yeah, and that's an interesting question because people's finances are usually fairly private. You know, people don't just blab, pun intended, their finances all and their credit situation and their debt situation all over the place. So the fact that this is, you know, a public forum, I'm not sure that it would be, and you may have some other ideas or other people may have some other thoughts, but I'm just not sure it would be the forum for consumers to get on and actually at least not ask personal questions. They might ask general questions or might, you know, or something like that. But I doubt they will talk about their personal credit situation.
Blair?
But you could maybe share best practice. Sorry to interrupt you, Us, and maybe you could share best practice of how people could use. I don't know much about the American system, forgive me, but maybe it's increasing your credit score or managing your mortgage or budgeting tips, and maybe you could create a PDF that they could download with some free tips.
Yeah.
And that would direct them back to your particular website. So one thing you might be able to consider is share best practices around credit. And that would be neat because then it could be shared in schools. It could be shared for people in college as well as people who are at the stage in their life where they need to adjust their credit. So you could do it from 2 points of view, someone to have good credit to start and then someone who might need some help. I mean, that's just my idea. Austin, what do you think?
That's a good idea.
So can I say that this is what Neen's sweet spot is? She can listen to what you do and she can condense it into 2 sentences of what you could do next. Seriously, no, really, this is showcasing her best stuff. So in terms of listening deeply and then sort of capturing what it is the essence of what it is you're trying to do in your business, and then telling you a few quick ideas that would be income generating and help you get to the level you want to be so you could join the National Speakers Association and you could do this thing that you love. Listen to me.
Oh, you're very kind. I appreciate that. So for those of you who don't know anything about me, because I've been on Blab for less than a week, you can follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is my name, Neen James, on my website. But what Haley is referencing is one of my passions is helping thought leaders commercialize their expertise. It's one thing to share it with the world. It's a whole nother thing to make money out of it. And I'm all about the money. So I know people have a passion. I know they want to share things, which is great. And I love that. And what I love about Austin is that you've been able to reinvent in a different stage in your career as well. So thought leadership is really sharing a unique perspective. Your expertise in a unique way that can truly shift thinking, shift an industry, or maybe even shift a life. And people that are shifting the way we do things, Elon Musk with Tesla, my apologies, just looked at the whole environment very differently. And so he disrupted the industry in a positive way and then changed things. Uber changed it for taxi drivers. But what it was about was them taking their idea and then commercializing it. So I love doing, and recently, Blair, we were talking about the National Speakers Association. I had the privilege of sharing on the main stage. How do you take your ideas from your head and make more money out of them? And it's about that idea leadership, showcasing your idea leadership. So I believe as thought leaders, Blab is a free platform to share your brilliance. To share it in a way that you generously can give away downloadable books, sample chapters of your book, PDFs maybe, Blair, of your expertise. Maybe it's about pointing people to a membership site you have where they can have a few months for free. But what it's about, I think, is showcasing your expertise. So if you want to access any of these books, the Thought Leaders book is not available in America. I bought that from Australia. The Sell Your Thoughts book is available as a Kindle option on Amazon, but also they're written by Australian authors. So my business partner is Matt Church. There's a book called Paid to Speak. You can get that from the National Speakers Association, so that might be interesting to you, Blair, as a resource. But what I would suggest is that for those of you who have been watching Blab, thank you for doing that. What I would suggest as thought leaders is you think about how can you give away some of your expertise in a forum like this. Engage people, ask questions. Today we've had the gorgeous Tristan from ATW Networking. I've referenced Brian, which is iSocial Fans. I've talked about Matt McLeod from Oz Backpacking, AUS Backpacking. We've had Haley join us, and she's a short talk expert. Blair has joined us about credit. We had Samantha, the tweeting goddess, and she's really great at sharing tweets. And Arsen, who has published a book and is like the most beautiful example of someone at 80. I hope that I have the energy that you have there. But what it's about using this platform to showcase others. Periscope, I believe, it's fun, but it's singular. I think it's just about one person talking to the masses. And I don't particularly enjoy the trolls that are on Periscope. However, what I've noticed with Blab, it is very new, so I guess trolls haven't come to play. But I do love that people are being very authentic. They're very real. They're sharing generously. In my case, they're screwing up constantly with audio and facilitation tips and all those kinds of things. But what I think,
if I can jump in real quick, it's hard not to be authentic when they can actually see you. You know, it's easier to be authentic when all you're doing is typing. I mean, unauthentic when all you're doing is typing text, and it's easier to troll when all you're doing is typing text. It's harder to troll if they can see your face. You know.
So if anyone else wants to jump in, Blair is happy to jump out, and I'm sure Arsen or Haley would be the same.
Neen, can I ask you a question?
Please, honey.
One of the things that I've been doing, I have the tag name of Papa Sub, and so I've been looking at Blab as to what I could do. And so one of the things I had was maybe do a weekly show of Papa Sub Says, and have people have questions that they can get in and do that. And the other is to explain what SUB is. See, SUB is an acronym for success on a daily basis, and optimism as a philosophy of life, overachieve at every task, and a belief in the God of the universe. So I thought I would take what is a SUB as a hashtag as well, and then discuss each one of those like each week. Maybe have a weekly show. So what
a great idea.
Is that a good idea?
Oh, honey, it's a brilliant idea. So for those of you who are watching, if you're not following Arsen, he's Mr. Sub1. I would encourage you to follow him and give him some love. So click on those hands to give him some feels. But what he's suggesting is doing a regular show where people could do like a Q&A. And Matt McLeod from Oz Backpacking was saying the same thing. He's going to do like a live show. So what I think is great about that, Arsen, is people can be live and asking you questions, but also, too, if you associate it with a hashtag, you're going to create a great momentum on social media through the Twitter forum so that people can then start to get some legs behind your hashtag as well. So one of my hashtags I'm most known for is Happy Little Aussie, right? So I use that pretty much on all my Instagram posts and all my Facebook posts, and it's very true. So it doesn't really mean anything. It's just kind of who I am. So what you could do is help to explain what SUB is. I love that. You can showcase your book. And I like this idea of the ability to constantly share it out. So for those of you who are using Blab maybe for the first time, you can click on the Tell a Little Bird, the little blue box, and that instantly tweets out of whoever is in the hot seat. And so what you may want to do, Arsen, is when you're facilitating your Blabs is encourage people to be tweeting while you're talking so that they can also extend the network to their particular platforms as well. And that's an easy way to get more followers, to get more engagement, and maybe people didn't know you and now they will. So if anyone wants to join us, we have a few minutes left before I finish this Blab. You are welcome to just let me know if you'd like to be in the hot seat. We have some people here now. I'm not sure about how long the best practice is for Blabs. I found one the other night was with Lynn was amazing, but it was 2 hours long, and I don't think I could dedicate that kind of attention. But I like that these you can jump in and out of them as well. So if you're learning Blab and you want to share your expertise as a thought leader, jump into other people's Blabs, have a look at what they're doing, see how they are using it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thank everybody who has been part of the Blab today. I'm going to suggest that when you think about hosting your own Blab, pre-schedule it so that way people can actually subscribe. Encourage people to tell a little bird. I would encourage you to have a co-host if you can, who can help you manage the comments. Know the little trips like /Q allows people to ask a question, /title allows you to change the title midway. Use the tags that the Blab team has set up for you so that you can do that. It's been really neat to see you all. I'm going to finish this Blab by saying thanks so much. Please follow everybody, and thanks for